Hi guys, so today I'm going to be reviewing the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. I've been using this for quite a while now, probably, I don't know, maybe even 2 months, because I wanted to make sure that I knew everything about it before I reviewed it. I've come to the realization that first impressions are not very good for me because a lot of times my opinions change as I use them more, so I really wanted to give these a good shot before I reviewed them. First of all, I have 2 shades because the color selection for these foundations is terrible. I don't know how many shades there are, maybe like 8 or 10, I don't know, I'll look it up and I will have it listed somewhere, but I ended up having to get the first 2 shades to be able to match me. Right now I am wearing 102 Shell Beige, which is the second shade, but that's because I just self-tanned last night, so it kind of matches me. But normally I wear 101 Classic Ivory, or I mix the two, which is probably what I do more often than not. And from what I've read from others, I believe that happens a lot where people have to get more than one shade to be able to come up with a shade that matches them well enough because the colors are just not very good. Both of the lighter shades that I have are a little more cool toned, which is usually not my favorite thing, but one thing that I do often is I mix it with the Cover FX Custom Cover Drops, and I have the shade N30, and this just gives them a little bit more warmth or neutrality rather than having it cool toned. Actually, I think I'll swatch these for you right now. That way you can kind of see, if you are fair skinned like me, you can see the difference in the colors. Okay. So this shade right here is 101 and this shade here is 102. As you can see, they're quite different, at least I hope you can see, they're quite different. There's not a whole lot of in between, so either you're really white or you've got a tan going, at least for the fair skin, and I'm assuming it's the same as you go into the darker shades as well because there's just not very many options in general. So, but it is okay because this foundation is affordable, it's drugstore, so you can buy 2 and mix them to get your correct shade. So today like I said, I wore 102 and I tried applying it with my fingers, a flat top brush, and a sponge. That way I could see the difference between each. And I started out with applying this foundation with my fingers, and that works okay. It's not streaky and it has pretty good coverage. The only thing is it's a little bit harder to blend as opposed to the other products that I use to blend it out. It just seems like it kind of sticks a little more rather than, you know, just smoothing over the face, if that makes sense. And it pretty much looks the same as when I use the brush or the sponge. The second thing that I tried was a flat top brush. I used the Morphe G6 to blend out on half of my face, and again this worked really well just like the fingers did, but instead of like swiping it, I pat it in because I've noticed from previous times that if I swipe with a brush it gets kind of lines, and I think it's because it's a little bit of like a stickier formula, so it gets those streaks in it pretty easy. But if you pat the brush into your skin, you don't get that, and it actually gives really full coverage and everything like that. The third item that I used to blend it out today was a beauty blender, and that's definitely my favorite thing to use when applying this foundation, mainly because it is so much faster. It blends it in so much faster, and you don't have to worry about getting the streaks or anything, so it just pats it in really beautifully. And since this foundation is thicker, it kind of makes it look a little more natural, just because I think that's just how a beauty blender works in general for any foundation. This foundation is really long lasting for me. I am a little oily and a little dry and I'm just really combination, to be honest. So about, I would say maybe 6 hours in, maybe longer depending on the day, I do get oily, like right here on my forehead mainly, and I do have to powder, but that's really honestly with any foundation. If you are dry, I probably would recommend using a moisturizing primer first because it is a bit drying, and even I use usually a moisturizing primer before I use this, like something that creates a little bit of a dewier finish, because Otherwise, it is a little drying. So if you do have dry skin, it might still work for you. You're just going to want to really moisturize your skin beforehand because, like I said, it is a matte foundation. As for how it feels on the skin, it does feel really nice. Like once I powder my face, it doesn't feel sticky or anything like that. So that's a plus for me. I hate when foundations constantly feel wet on the face. They dry pretty quickly, but not too fast. You have plenty of time to blend it out, but they dry really nicely to where you're not like feeling wet on your face, you know what I mean? Also for me, from what I've noticed, these haven't broke me out. I haven't gotten any acne from wearing these that I've seen, which is really good for me, especially because I have pretty sensitive skin, so a lot of things kind of freak out my skin, and I don't think these do, so that's good. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say about foundation. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say about this foundation. It is really good, and it is super affordable, and it works really well, at least for me. So I'd definitely give it a try if you have not done so yet. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!